Hey, 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 happy Halloween. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, October 31st. That's right, it is Halloween 2023. And this is live stream number 980. Yowza. So if you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And we'll either take a first look at a game or I'll share a live review of a game. Now tonight, we are going to actually dive on in and take a look at this box that was sent to me. Gotta try to squeeze it in here, right? From Avalon Hill. And as far as I understand, it contains the third edition of Betrayal at House on the Hill, as well as Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale. So we are going to be taking a look at both of those tonight, which are from Avalon Hill. So if you are tuning in because you want to see the live first look, do want to let you know it's going to be probably about 40 minutes or so, because we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So if you are watching live, just kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. You're probably tired from handing out all that candy. Probably got shoulder problems now from just flipping all that candy out there. Although I got to admit, we had hardly any kids today because we had snow in the Chicago area. Yeah, snow and high 30s. Gotta love that. But I'll talk about that in a bit anyway. So if you're tuning in to watch this live, it is going to be a bit of time. But if you are tuning in 30 minutes or more after this show has ended, there will be timestamps. So you can jump ahead if you want to pass by the tabletop gaming news, although, as always, I've got cool stuff I'm talking about tonight. But if you're impatient and you got to get into that first look, I understand. So you'll be able to use those timestamps. They are located in the show notes. And depending on what device you might be watching this on, could be right there in the timeline of the video. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live show. That means chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, got a question, comment, maybe there's something about Betrayal at House on the Hill or Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale you want a closer look at, chime in. I'll do my best to respond. Should mention, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yes. Like I said, that's how I keep the more unusual commenters at bay. First out the gate tonight, we have got Flaming Heron and Roger Perdome are hanging with us in chat. Good to see you both. So Fleming Heron says, yeah, let's look at the box. It's a nice looking box. You'll get a closer look at the box in just a bit. A few things I do want to mention before we jump on into the news. I got a cold or sinus infection or something going on here. And up until about 30 minutes ago, the antihistamine that I had taken seemed to be working okay. And then it just stopped. And I took it not too long ago. So I'm not going to take another one. So I am probably a bit nasally or more nasally than usual. And don't be surprised if I sneeze and I'm kind of sniffly and things like that. So just want to let you know. Anyway, once again, happy Halloween, everybody. Yes, I decided a little bit of a costume. I'll wear some Cubs gear. I almost put a little eye black on and I was like, nah, I'm too old to be doing like a lot of costuming here. So Roger Pertum said, just finished closing up after the candy giveaway. Ran out of candy as always. I think we only had about 15 kids, maybe 20. All right, Fleming here said, I was going to ask, I thought it was my audio at fault. Is there an issue with the audio, gang? Are we not getting anything? I'm showing my microphone working. All right, let me know in chat if there's oh, with my voice. Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's what can I tell you? It's it happens all the time, every year. So far, I'm keeping it under control because sometimes I get these sinus infections or colds. I don't know what they are. I don't really research it that much, but just blows my sinuses out. I mean, just awful, awful. So let's jump on into the news because arriving next month from Rio Grande Games is Evacuation. And here's the skinny. Hurry to the ship. 12 houses from our town have already burned down. In Evacuation, life on our planet is being burned away thanks to increasingly intense sunlight. So everyone is trying to move all the people and factories in their territories from the old planet to a new one. And they have only 4 rounds to do so. You start the game with a fully functioning economy, and over the course of play, you must dismantle that economy and move it. Income on the old planet shrinks over time, and production probably won't be much better until you establish yourself on the new planet and kick things into action. Resources can't be mixed across the planet, so you need to take special care with your planning. To do this, you choose actions from the player board, with the expert variant adding cards to your hand that allow you to choose additional actions and combine them. Each action has its own value, and the sum of these actions is important for an end-of-the-round bonus. Additionally, players move their markers along the orbital track based on the value of their actions. If you can raise production of 3 resources to level 8 and have 3 virtual reality machines on your new planet, you win. Otherwise, players compare scores after 4 rounds. Evacuation includes modules to add new play options as well. Evacuation is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 60 to 150 minutes, and it's going to carry an MSRP of $69.95 when it arrives in stores next month. I thought this sounded pretty interesting, and I like the fact that it has additional modules for you to add to increase probably the complexity and the game length. So very nice. Very nice. It is not the first game that I have encountered where you're breaking down one thing to use to build something else. Kevin R. Smith and Kathy Evans are hanging with the gang tonight. So Kevin asks, so the burning question, does Jeff have an advanced copy of Pathfinder 2 Player Core and GM Core? And is he going to mention the free Vaesen PDF at DriveThruRPG? All right, I'll answer the second question first. Yes, I am going to mention it. It's not a news piece, but I already have it on the teleprompter. So yes, I'm going to talk about Vaesen. Now you can get it for free. Absolutely free. That just popped up yesterday. So if you follow me on Twitter, I had shot out a tweet on that. I also did it on Facebook and on Blue Sky. And I should mention, if you are interested in getting an invite to Blue Sky, I do have a few. So if you are curious, reach out to me, Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. And if I still have some left, I'll be happy to send you a code. The Madman is with us tonight as well. Says, hey gang, listening while handing out candy. Won't be too active in chat tonight. Well, well, well. See, now our candy time is over already. So the suburb that I'm in, it was from 4 to 7. That was it. It's like, okay. All righty then. But first question that Kevin had, do I have an advanced copy of Player Core and GM Core? I have the PDFs. They are sending those to me. I'll get to that. I'll answer that in a little more detail once I wrap up the news. Moving right along, let's talk about role-playing games, because also hitting stores in November from Modiphius Entertainment is the Dreams and Machines Player's Guide and Game Master's Guide. Here's what I know. Dreams and Machines is a brand new role-playing game setting where people come together to rebuild their world following a catastrophic war. You will venture into a world of mystery and adventure, a world where slumbering mechs. Yeah, see, sinuses are getting in the way already. You will venture into a world of mystery and adventure, a world where slumbering mechs dot the landscape and people build their lives anew in the wreckage of paradise. Take on the role of one of the new tribes of humanity, an archivist, dreamer, Everin, river, or spear, and forge a path for yourself and your people. The war against the machines was 200 years ago, but many threats from that era abound, along with others, like raiding parties of thralls from the deep ruins that have arisen in the intervening years. The machines are dormant, but they sometimes awake, causing death and destruction until they are stopped. Hideous, mutated creatures infest the landscape. Vicious byproducts of the war. Ghostly nanograms lurk in the ruins, promising knowledge or luring the unwary to their deaths. Yet against all this, humanity is rebuilding. People live full, happy lives despite the threats that assail them. Cooperation and mutual aid are everywhere. Humans coming together to build something new amid the ruins of the past. Dreams and machines collide in a far future where its people come together to rebuild their world. The ultimate tale of hope and heroism in the shadow of the Wakers. As the danger grows and the world is under threat once more, do you dare to dream? The Dreams and Machines hardcover Player's Guide and Game Master's Guide will each carry an MSRP of $45, or you can grab the collector's slipcase set, which includes the 2 books, and I think there is also a poster map. That will carry an MSRP of $130. Now, you may recall I have shared a first look and a review of the Dreams and Machines starter set, which I thought was pretty interesting. Not necessarily probably a game that's aimed at myself, because it did feel really lightweight as far as mechanics, but pretty interesting setting, especially if you are a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. So once again, the 2 core books are arriving in November. Now available in PDF for the Traveler role-playing game is the Small Craft Catalog from Mongoose Publishing. Here's the lowdown. Welcome to the Small Craft Catalog, featuring a vessel for your every need. Small Craft, those vessels of less than 100 tons and without a jump drive, are the workhorses of Traveler and essential to the smooth running of every technological civilization in charted space. This book gives you more than 60 new small craft to be used by travelers, pirates, traders, government forces, and corporations. Each has a specific role and has been built to accomplish it with the best components available to its builders. In this book, you'll find modules. It's not just the modular cutter that can carry the 30-ton standard module. There are many configurations that greatly expand the operational capacity of these crafts. There's commercial craft. Whether they're hauling cargo or passengers, there's a variety of small craft linking the worlds of each star system, binding colonies and outposts together. Working craft. From the high port to the far reaches of the out system, these small craft keep the empires running, fixing, rescuing, mining, and performing a multitude of other tasks. Fighters, the most famous of small craft. High-performance fighters are at the forefront of any outbreak of hostilities. They're pilots destined to become heroes, or to meet an untimely death in the void. And then, of course, the military. Between the fighter and the warship, there are many small craft that keep military forces in the field and capable of acting effectively, from armored transports and recon craft to assault boats and system defense forces. Luxury craft. Owned by nobles and rich corporate executives, these small craft spare no expense at providing the comfiest rides and making sure everyone else knows it. Aslan, Sword Worlds, Varger, and Zodani. Beyond the Third Imperium and its affiliated states, other empires can have very different takes on small craft design, but these vessels might just be the perfect in-system ride for a group of travelers. Plus, there's new rules on how your travelers can use small craft to their best effect and bring another dimension to their adventures. The 112-page Traveler Small Craft Catalog hardcover with PDF can be pre-ordered for $49.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone right now over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. Sweet. I always like seeing new Traveler releases. So the previous release for Traveler was another craft catalog, another StarCraft catalog, although it was larger, kind of mid-sized craft, if I remember correctly. Very nice. Over 60 new ships as well. Let's move on to my final news piece. Onyx Path Publishing has released a new story path tasty bit. They came from the cabin in the woods. Here's the scoop. A legitimate reason for having a cabin in the woods, especially if it abuts a campsite and a lake for swimming and boating and isn't monstrously far from the interstate, is to murder the young idiots who turn up the party. You'd think the protagonists would wise up that these isolated locations with their creepy buildings and deathly still bodies of water containing deathly still bodies are recipes for murder. But there's no telling the youth of the 1970s and 1980s. Oh no, the young must make their own mistakes. Otherwise, they'll never learn. This tasty bit for They Came from Camp Murder Lake contains 5 sets, 3 antagonists, and a map of a cabin and campsite suitable for virtual tabletop play. Do want to mention, it does require a copy of They Came from Camp Murder Lake to play. This PDF is part of the Story Path Tasty Bits program, where every month in 2023, Onyx Path offers a small product that ties into one of its Story Path games. This 10-page PDF can be had over at Drive-Thru RPG for $1.99. Sweet. I know Sammy is a big fan of Onyx Path Publishing games. If you have not checked out some of her reviews, such as They Came from Beneath the Sea, and if I remember correctly, she also has the review of They Came from Beyond the Grave. Yep. Very nice. Very nice. All right, that is it for the tabletop gaming news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG, and as mentioned in chat, and I touched upon this myself, as of right now, through Halloween, so this offer will end later on today. I do not know what time, but it will end later on today. But as of this stream airing right now, you can go to Drive-Thru RPG and get a copy of the Nordic horror role-playing game Vaesen from my friends over at Free League Publishing, absolutely free. That is correct. So if you have not grabbed it yet, be sure to grab it. If you don't have Vaesen, you owe it to yourself to check it out. I mean, it's a nice, rules light horror role-playing game. It's not grisly, but it's also, even though it's got kind of a lighter style of artwork to it, which I really like the artwork quite a lot. One thing I really dig is that the adventures, the consequences of failure are usually pretty dire, pretty catastrophic. So I certainly like that aspect of the game as well. But like I said, it's pretty light as far as game mechanics. So you can pick it up and run with it rather quickly. So don't miss out. Get your copy of Vaesen from Free League Publishing, absolutely free, over at Drive-Thru RPG. Now, I will mention, if you are going to go run over to Drive-Thru RPG, stop over at thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads, and that way, when you type in a search for Vaesen, and you land on the page and it's free, they'll know who sent you. Always appreciate that. Flaming Heron says, can't beat free. No, you cannot. You cannot beat free. And it's a good role-playing game, too. So it's not as if it's some role-playing game that's been given away for free for 3 years in a row over on Drive-Thru RPG during their scavenger hunt, which they did not have this year. And it was funny because it was about 6 days prior to Halloween when they kicked off the freebies. No offense to the releases that were on there for free, but I was sort of like, really? I think there were 1 or 2 that were kind of like, oh, that could be interesting. And then there was other stuff that it was like, oh, you already have this in your library. So I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I can tell. Then that was something that was given away previously during one of the Halloween giveaways. Also, should mention, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, by all means, swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang, and you can make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. And a big thank you to all of you out there who use our drive-through, well, I guess I should say one bookshelf banner ads, even though I think the vast majority of them are drive-through RPG, and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. It is much appreciated. Big tip of the cap to all of you out there. Thank you kindly. All righty. So you may have noticed this is a little different. I swapped around some lenses just for the heck of it. Because for one, I only have 4 lenses. 2 are autofocus, 2 are not. 2 are primes. Well, 3 are primes. 1 is a zoom. But anyway, so I thought, I'm going to play around a little bit because, of course, I have an overhead camera. And with one of the lenses that I've been using for our first looks at books, it's way up. I have to put it way up there. And it's kind of like, that's kind of a pain. So I actually swapped them out. So I kind of moved lenses around so that the actual overhead camera is not like out of my reach anymore. I can reach and touch the camera, make changes to the camera, things like that. So yes, so this is a tighter shot now. You're not seeing as much behind me any longer. Whatever. It's not that big a deal, I'm sure. So I had an opportunity to run Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep again last night. Yes, the gang is closing in on the finale of the New York chapter. And it's kind of funny how my brother doesn't really game a whole lot, but he's been getting into this. He's and it's kind of funny how they like start piecing things together in that, and how sometimes they're like, oh yeah, we know it's this, and it's like, no, you're misconstruing. I don't tell them that. I'm just, to myself, I'm like, you think that's it? It's not what it's going to be. Kevin R. Smith says, yeah, I think the PDFs were all they were giving out. Haven't seen anybody talk about or hold up a physical copy. So I will be receiving the Player Core and GM Core physical books from Paizo Inc. The reason I believe I hadn't gotten them yet is because the way they set up my subscription is so that they don't have to sit there, every month, like put an order together and things like that. So they have me subscribe to the certain Pathfinder subscription level, and then they've got me subscribed to a particular Starfinder subscription level. And the core, the new remastered books, those cores aren't part of one of the subscriptions. So, I should say any of the subscriptions. So I reached out to the PR person from Paizo Inc., who Aaron Shanks got promoted, and now there's someone else who I deal with. Who's very nice. She's cool. So I had reached out and asked if I was going to receive those, because I thought, I don't think these would be part of the subscription that they've got set up. And she said, no, they didn't have it set up, but they are sending it. When we will see it, I do not know. I know the books are slated for release this month. Well, November, I guess I will say, towards the end of November. So I am hoping that we get to see them prior to hitting stores. I will be very honest, I have peeked at the Player Core PDF as I was curious. Kevin says November 15th is the date for that. So there you have it. So we will get to see the books, the physical books, and I do have the PDFs. So just throwing that out there. All right, moving right along. The Madman sent me a video of this year's Halloween setup that he's got, which is where he's handing out candy right now. So I thought we would take a moment. I think it's all of like 40 seconds long, but just give you an idea of the sort of setup that the Madman has for Halloween. Scatty, kids, scatty. Very nicely done. Very nice. And because I had an opportunity to be over at my brother's house yesterday, that's where I was running Call of Cthulhu, I actually did a little bit of video of his Halloween setup. And it's kind of funny because I'd say for about the past 5 years, the neighbors have all been like, oh my gosh, oh wow. And he's been kind of the star of the neighborhood as far as decorating. Well, now they've got a new neighbor who moved down the street. And my brother was like, oh my gosh. It's like, contest's over. They're the runaway winners. I guess they have like the facade of a castle on the outside of your house and of their house, not your house, their house. And you actually go into it and stuff like that. My brother said it was just amazing. He said it was really, really cool. And then I could kind of tell he was a little sad that somebody had stolen his mojo. So here's my brother Greg's setup outside his house. Yes. I like how he had the giant spider. Yeah, I could have walked up and gotten a little closer to it, but that end shot, it's like a corpse all cocooned, and there's a giant spider on it. It was pretty wild, and I had to laugh because my best friend Elliot Miller was playing Call of Cthulhu with us last night. And he's not a fan of spiders by any stretch of the imagination. So He's like, oh yeah, that's nice. Actually, he thought it was really cool, but he was like, that's creepy. So you may have heard that the Deck of Many Things release for Dungeons and Dragons from Wizards of the Coast is going to be delayed. I guess they have some serious production issues with it. And I guess it really has to do with the deck. Madman says, Jeff, if your brother needs a new neighbor, yeah, you guys could combine it. So Flaming Heron was asking in the Madman's video, was one of the kids eating candy there at the end? I would think he's supposed to be eating flesh or something. It would be my guess. Anyway, so yes. So the Deck of Many Things release was supposed to come out in November, like mid-November. And I guess there are multiple production issues with it. And I guess distributors had received some shipments already of it. So my understanding is that the cards themselves have kind of a foil element to them, and I guess they didn't do a like cello wrap. There's like this biodegradable cello wrap, plastic wrap that you'll see some companies have been using for their cards. And they decided they weren't going to do that, so they had a band around it. And I guess the band was too tight, so when you take the band off, it actually peels the foil off the back of the card that it's on. So that was one thing. I guess there's some chipping in the corners of many of the cards. Now, the funny thing is, you may remember a few years ago, I did a review of Curse of Strahd Remastered, it's Revamped is the title of it. And they were charging, if I remember correctly, over $100 for it, but the Tarada cards that they had, same thing. Big issues with them. And it was the same kind of thing. There was like chipping in the corners of the cards. The backing wasn't uniform. Some of the backing looked a little off. So I guess the biggest problem with the deck is that if you put them all together, you'll find that the cards aren't uniform height. It's like, whoa, how did this happen? And my understanding is it's like the entire print run of it. So from what I heard, Wizards of the Coast is hoping, well, they're promising it, but I don't know. I mean, they're promising that they will have that released by the end of the year. I don't know. I think that's being really, really optimistic. So, Flaming Heron says, "You think the production quality would match the cost?" Oh, I smell heavy sarcasm in that comment. So I wonder if Sarah D is with us tonight. If she is, howdy, howdy. She is another of our chat moderators, as is the Madman and Flaming Heron. If not, hopefully she's having a very nice Halloween. Okay, so that was actually, all I really wanted to cover tonight. I have received just a slew of stuff over the past few days. It is insane, the amount of stuff that has arrived. So what I'm going to do, I will share that with you when I talk about what's coming up the rest of the week, as well as what I've got planned for next week. And yes, Sarah D is with us, says Halloween is the perfect night for lurking in the shadows. Oh, and I should also mention before we move on to the brief intermission that the Spooktacular is wrapped up. Yes. The Gaming Gang October Spooktacular 2023. Yes, I can't say Spooktacular without doing that with my hands. I don't know. Maybe it's the Ray Fosse in me. I have no idea. But all 31 episodes are available if you're looking for some creepy, spooky stuff. I know there are a few of you out there who have been enjoying the witching hour releases of the Spooktacular. So I had fun. I like doing it. And for a change, I actually shot little video intros and outros rather than just recording it. Lord Cos 2000 is with us. He's been with us for a bit. So my apologies not saying hello quicker. So is Kevin King. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for swinging on in. So yes, Flaming Heron is pointing out that, yeah, there was sarcasm with that. But you know what? I heard that you can get that on Amazon, the Curse of Strahd revamped. I heard at one point very recently you could get it for about $35, $40. $35, $40? That's a smoking deal. I mean, just that kind of like coffin box, I think is really cool. I wouldn't pay $40 for it, but I mean, like $35, $40 for Dungeons and Dragons Curse of Strahd revamped, it'd be like, yes, please. $100, it's like, and I said that in my review as well. So Flaming Heron says, you mean no more evil laughs at the end of the Spooktaculars? Well, I don't have any Spooktaculars to do. They're done. All 31. So this morning at midnight, or this yesterday evening, whatever you consider midnight to be. Me personally, I always think midnight is night. But then again, like 1 a.m. is the morning. So it's kind of like, okay. So we are going to be diving on in for a first look at Betrayal at House on the Hill and Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale. Now that just rolls off the tongue, eh? In just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a special, brief Halloween intermission.
I'm Dumpy the Pumpkin, Carvel's Halloween ice cream cake. I weigh 44 ounces and serve 10 to 12 people.
Having a Halloween party? I'm Wiki the Witch, and I weigh 45 ounces. We're both made fresh daily at your participating Carvel ice cream store.
You want to send one to a friend? Please phone 800-327-GIFT and call the cake honors most major credit cards. Thank you.
Something about that face.
Introducing Spooky Goop, horrifying monster makeup you make up at home. Spooky Goop's bubbling lizard lips, bat bones, and toes create a ghoulish goo that makes a monster out of you.
Now that's a face no mother could love.
Spooky Goop, spine-tingling makeup for Halloween or any unearthly occasion.
Oh, I do enjoy an evening with a little light entertainment. But when your video heads get dirty, you lose your picture. Not a pretty sight. Happily, this new Polaroid video cassette will help you. It actually cleans your heads as it plays, so dirty heads needn't haunt you. New Polaroid video cassettes. Get the picture?
Oh, heck, my flying saucer's out of atomic fuel.
I'm even worse off. I'm out of Wilkins coffee.
The haunted mansion at Long Branch is a living, breathing nightmare of more than 30 incredible rooms, each with its own very special surprise. Wander through its myriad of secret passageways and winding labyrinths. Discover the graveyard of the living dead and its unimagined terror. There's Renfield and his spiders, the Prince of Darkness, Count Dracula, and many more. At the haunted mansion at Long Branch, it's waiting for you.
We were telling ghost stories in the Fun Fruits jungle. The coffin opened, and the skeleton scared the alien! Skeleton! And that's how we discovered new Fun Fruit Spooky Fruit, with skulls, ghosts, and monsters. And Fun Fruit Space Shapes with aliens, astronauts, and spaceships. New fruit snacks from Sunkissed Fun Fruits.
Give me 5.
New Fun Fruit Space Shapes and Spooky Fruit.
There you go. There's a spooky laugh for you. Not as good as, I think it was a little too deep. That one was a little too deep. But when I was doing the endings of Spooktaculars, I tried to make sure that the laugh was a little different every time. I don't know why. I could not have a Halloween brief intermission without including something from Vincent Price. Just had to. And if you've been enjoying listening to the episodes of CBS Radio Mystery Theater on the Spooktaculars, I would certainly recommend, if you enjoyed the radio drama, check out Vincent Price as Simon Templar, the Saint. It's not spooky or anything like that, but he's really good. Really good. Too many people, when they think Vincent Price, they think, oh, evil characters and stuff like that. He played good guys from time to time, and he was supposed to be just a sweetheart of a human being, too. So he seems like it. He seemed like he was. Alrighty then, tonight we are going to dive on in and take a look at Betrayal at House on the Hill and Betrayal of the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale. Say that 5 times fast. Both from Avalon Hill. Betrayal at House on the Hill, 3rd edition, is designed by Bruce Galasco with Dave Chalker, Banana Chan, Noah Cohen, Brian Neff, Will Sobel, and Jabari Weathers. A lot of 5e D&D names in there, with artwork provided by Henning Ludvigsen. The game is for 3 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 60 minutes per scenario, and does carry an MSRP of $55.99. Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale, is designed by Dave Chalker, and it carries an MSRP of $21.99. And obviously enough, you need to have Betrayal at House on the Hill in order to use the Yuletide Tale. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got the box that Avalon Hill sent along to me. That's right. It says, to Jeff from Jingle Claws. And as you can see, it's supposed to be streaked with blood on the box. This is the kind of stuff we would get from Wizards of the Coast for some D&D stuff from time to time, where they would go, you know, out of the way. They didn't just send you the, got to get my cup out of the way. You're getting a shadow of it. Anyway, like I said, I changed around some lenses in that, so we've got some different focal lengths, because as you saw, this is a pretty big box. But anyway, this is the kind of thing that we used to see for, every once in a while we'd see a D&D release like this, but for like Christmas, the reviewers in that would get goodies and stuff. One of these days, when it gets colder, I'll actually come down as I block everything off. I'll come down with this weird sort of like cozy thing that they sent me. It's got like a hood, and it's almost like those Snuggies. It's a pullover in that. It's not like a, you know, an oddball like monk's sort of vestment or something. So we've got a card in here. Here is the Yuletide Tale. And here is Betrayal at House on the Hill, 3rd edition. And here it says, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Yes, because it's Jingle Claws. I think we have Krampus as part of this as well. Anyway, I'll wear the odd kind of snuggie thing. And the thing that made it really weird is it's like a 3XL. It's massive. And it used to be Wizards of the Coast would ask you, they would email you and ask your, you know, clothing size, because a lot of times they'd send t-shirts and stuff. And I was like, I did not say I'm a 3XL. All right, let's see what we've got here. Happy holidays. There you go. There's Jingle Claws. And then it just kind of a mailer almost. That's kind of cool. That's nice. Very cool. So, of course, the fine folks over at Avalon Hill were kind enough to send me this Jingle Claws box, as well as Betrayal at House on the Hill and Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And these days, it's very, very important that you know that. All right, so we're going to take a look at Betrayal first. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Let's get the old hobby knife here. In fact, you know what I'm also going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little more. It's a little too much. Back it out just a hair more. Yeah, it should be fine. There we go. Get this shrink off. Now, when Elliot was part of the gaming gang, and you know, who knows, one of these days he might come back. He talks about it, and then he's like, oh, I don't have any time. And then he talks about it, and he says, I don't have any time. But he reviewed the 2nd edition of Betrayal at House on the Hill. And it looks like the miniature quality is far better than it was for that edition. Although they are not painted here, I see. It's the house of your nightmares. The house on the hill sits abandoned, its windows staring blankly out at the world. No one can remember who lived there or what happened to them. Now, a fearless group of explorers have been drawn to the house for different reasons. Some received mysterious invitations, while others are investigating unexplained disappearances. A few have simply come to check out a cheap fixer-upper. Playing as these explorers, you'll be challenged to face the horrors of the house. Circumstances will place you in any of 50 chilling haunts created for this 3rd edition, which will terrify even the strongest among you. Yeah, okay. But beware, for one explorer will betray the others, leading to a life and death struggle for survival. The house will see and hear it all. They say that the house on the hill always wins. It's up to you to prove them wrong. Speaking of houses, one of the all-time greatest horror films, The Haunting. Love that movie. I am not the only one. And it's also a horror movie that you never see a ghost. You never see any like being or creature or anything. All right, so we've got some punch boards. Looks like we got a few punch boards here. Quite a few. So let's take a look at the rule book. The Trader's Tome. Secrets of Survival. We've got our minis. We'll get a closer look at those minis. We have a variety of cards. We have a sealed package of dice. I don't know why it's sealed. Probably just so they don't fly all over the place in the box. All right, even though we have been told not to read these, I will show you so you can get an idea of how this is set up. Now, I have not played Betrayal at House on the Hill. What I have played is the, what was it, Betrayal Legacy? Rob Davio had actually designed that one. That I did play, that I did review. So in similar ways, the haunts are kind of how they play out are identical. So we're going to see how to use this rule book. If you're new to Betrayal, so one of the things I understand makes third edition stand out from the second edition is that the presentation has been designed so that it's much easier for newcomers to jump right on into the game. It says, if you're new to Betrayal, welcome, or maybe we should tell you to run while you still can. Prepare to enter the world of Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition. Each game of Betrayal plays out like a horror movie. You may even recognize nods to a few of your favorites. You'll begin by exploring a haunted house built long ago and largely abandoned, at least by humans. It turns out that someone in your group harbors a dark secret, and the action will take a sinister turn when they reveal themselves as the traitor. That's the Betrayal. And I believe every scenario has a betrayer, or more than one. So showing us what's in the box, we've got the character boards, which I am curious to take a look at because I know the way that the second edition of Betrayal at House on the Hill was set up production-wise. The character tiles were going to get torn up really easily. But it looks like we may not be using little clips. Looks like we might be using something different to track your attributes. So we have event cards, item cards, omen cards, and scenario cards. Player reference cards, traitor and monster reference cards. Room tiles, we'll be taking a look at those in a moment, as we will the tokens. There's our dice. They are 6-sided dice, but if I remember correctly, they're averaging dice. So they have 0, 1, or 2 pips on their faces. I don't know if that's changed, but that's how it was in Betrayal Legacy. So walking through how to discover new rooms, ending your turn, how to play after the haunt begins. Oh, wow, there are some that do not have a traitor. Sweet. That's kind of cool. But we have some that have one traitor. We have a hidden traitor. Oh, so the one traitor, the players already know who the traitor is. They already know who the villain is. And then we have free-for-alls where it's everybody for themselves. Starting the haunt, weapons, anatomy of a haunt, playing the haunt, character descriptions. So we actually have quite a few. So should I guess that the character tiles are dual-sided? We'll have one character on one side, another character on the other? Taking a stab. Which is right in tune with Betrayal at House on the Hill. So, Secrets of Survival should be the haunt portion of this. So once the haunt begins, then you're going to look up the scenario that you're in. And I would take a guess. I think we just saw we have scenario cards. So usually it's the reveal of a certain room that sets off the haunt. But that's what this basically gives you the breakdown. So you'll find out who the traitor is, if it's a hidden traitor, and they actually will take a look at this book. And everyone else is going to be looking at this book. Now, I think if it's just a free-for-all with just everybody for themselves, then I think it might be in here. I don't think it's in the Traitor Tome. I will say the paper stock, pretty nice, pretty decent. Especially for a board game rule book. And we'll just kind of show you what these look like. So it'll kind of tell you what the scenario victory conditions are as far as the baddies and our heroes or our humans. There you go. Nice. Space slugs. Space slugs. So here it's telling us the scenario card. Haunt trigger is when you reveal the room with the skull and who the traitor is. So as you'll see, that showed that the haunt revealer is a traitor. It might be lowest sanity is the traitor. Might be the highest or lowest attributes. So here we've got the cards. Here, I'll open up these dice here. Aha! So these are our little markers. Now I see why we had the bag. I'll actually zoom in so we get a better look at these cards. And well, I will show you something. See, the one thing I'm not overly fond of this lens is that it changes, it's what's known as an ISO. When you zoom, it changes the lighting, which is kind of weird. All right, this is, you may not be able to see this, but I was going to point this out. So as I saw, there's a little chipping on this card. You may see that little white. This is the issue that I was talking about with the cards for Curse of Strahd revamped, as well as the cards for, oops, just taking a look here, as well as the cards that you've got for the deck of many things that's now been delayed. It's now, I don't really see it on other cards. And I mean, I kind of went like, it was far worse. When I opened it up, I kind of went like this with my finger. But that's never a good sign. So we've got our player references. We've got Traitor, Monster, Paranormal Investigators. So these are scenario cards here. Paranormal Investigators, A Strange Disappearance. For sale. Cursed. A Mysterious Invitation. I will say I like the fact that you don't have to use an app for the game. So that is nice. So we got omen cards, item cards. We're not going to look at all these cards. I will share a few of them. So items, rabbit's foot, crossbow, map. Hey, at least we're getting some artwork on them. Omens. Armor. Dog. It stares at you with a keen intelligence. Dagger. Kevin King says, interesting game concept, but if the cards get marked from one use, that's a bit of a deal breaker. Well, one thing you are going to do now, because this is not a legacy game, like we saw with Betrayal Legacy. Some of these cards, what I think you have to do, I think you might have to seed your events. Jar of Organs. Yummy. Brain food. Speaking of. Hey, speaking of brains, I was going to share the trailer, the original trailer for Return of the Living Dead, and then I was going to tell a story about it, but it was part of the original brief intermission I was going to share, and then it turned out that I got a copyright warning when I uploaded it to YouTube. As I've pointed out before, I have learned that I, upload the brief intermissions just to make sure that I don't get a copyright notice. So here with these cards. So, okay. So for an example here, Paranormal Investigators. So you're going to play Paranormal Investigators, and I would take a wild stab in the dark that you shuffle up the omen cards, draw one, because here we've got the different omens, and they're all different. It's never repeated. And that's your haunt, right? So if you drew the dog, it's going to be haunt 42. That tells us the traitor is going to be whoever reveals the haunt. And remember, in the one book, you can take a look at the book. Because it's going to tell you what is the haunt, what room you reveal that launches the haunt. So here we've got our reference cards for the players. So we have 6. Remember, keep in mind, this game is for 3 to 6 players. Roll for Combat is with us. Good to see you. Asking, is this the Halloween episode? Well, it's Halloween. No. It's the Christmas episode. Welcome aboard. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Okay. So we've got quite a few of these little markers, and I think you drop them into the player tiles. Here are those averaging dice I was talking about. So you're looking at pips. You're never going to get more than 2. Oh, look at that. Oh, maxing it out. Yes. So we have got 8. Yeah, so we've got 8 of those. We've got quite a lot of these. Get a better look at them if I put them down there like so. So they're like little swords. And these I will actually put back into this packet. Let's look at the punch boards. So these are the different rooms. And what you do is you create. All right, come on. I know you don't handle black all that well. Come on. All right, autofocus. So make me take you out to the woodshed. You'll actually create a pile and shuffle it up as far as your floors go. So if you're on the ground floor exploring, you're going to select from there. Then we have the upper landing, basement landing. So there is a lot of stuff that I do recall from Betrayal Legacy. Ground floor staircase, hallway, entrance hall, basement landing, collapse room, junk room, upper landing. See, there's one of our haunt reveals. So is this one. In Legacy, some of these marked like events and things like that too. So I'm not sure. Ballroom, panic room, ritual room, chapel. Gotta say, you know what? I'm going to lighten this up a little more. It just feels really dark. Give it one more. It might be a little too bright, but I'd rather have it a little too bright than dark. Like I said, I like the lens. It's a kit lens. It's what comes with the camera, but it's still actually not a cheap lens. But I just don't like how it changes essentially the f-stop from zooming and, zooming in and out. The laboratory, soundproof room, specimen room, dining room, larder, mystic elevator, gymnasium, game room, the nursery, the vault. So we've got tokens. And these are our character tiles. No, they are the same. They don't change. Except, all right, so their clothing changed and their names and stuff change, but the artwork is still, well, it is different, but it is similar. So here we have Oliver Swift. So we have might, knowledge, speed, and sanity. And it appears that we actually poke this little piece out here. And then take our sword. All right, so how do we mark this? Because I can tell you right now, it's got to be the sword. But that's not it. Because I was going to, oh, is it? Oh, I guess it is a clip. Oh, I hate that. It is a clip. It's not it's not awful, but to be honest, I would probably have preferred if it was just something that you just put into this little, because it's got a kind of little serration here. Because that kind of, clips and stuff tend to tear up paper. they tear off the paper on the cardstock. Now we'll see. We'll see what happens. I will point out that this is far, far better than the second edition. So we've got some more of our characters here. Yeah, she looks so pleased. What a happy child. Oh, look, she's still looking unhappy. That's nice. Hobbies, depressing music, and blogging. Okay, all right. We've got more there. So it looks like we've got a dozen characters is what we're looking at. And I'm sure if we flip this over, it'll be the other artwork. Yes, it is. And we have some more rooms still. So we've got 6 more rooms here. The crawl space. That's a perfect place to store bodies. Graveyard. Conservatory. Bloody room. I really do like the art quite a lot. That is one thing that I will definitely tell you is setting this apart from the previous edition. Now, remember, I didn't play it. I just happened to see it. Elliot had taken it out when I was over at his house one time. And he'd already reviewed it, and he was sharing a peek at it, and he was kind of pointing out some of his qualms about it. All right, so we've got the miniatures here. I'll pull these out. Looks like a pretty nice insert we've got. Let's zoom in as far as we can get. All right, so this is this supposed to be a horn or something? Okay. Because here's I could tell just by looking at it, this is the unhappy girl. She's got a flashlight in her hand. This looks like a boy. Looks like they all have light sources. So that is another flashlight. There is facial detail. So these would paint up. I mean, I would say this is more of a traditional 24 millimeter miniature. These are not 32. Maybe it's close to 28, but as you can see, these are a little on the smaller side if you compared them to, you know, like Games Workshop or Warlord Games. Flaming Heron's asking, are they good sculpts? I'll tell you, the sculpts are far better than they were when they had the pre-paints. Because the sculpts weren't very good, and then the pre-paint wasn't good at all. Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, I can see painting these up. I will say that you are looking at soft plastic, though. So, of course, you would have to treat this before painting them. Otherwise, paint's just going to peel right on off. All right, so what I am going to do is just put those back in here like that because they go in specific spots, and I don't want to waste your time while I'm doing that. So I will just slide those in there. So we have the 6 miniatures. We also have all the character tiles, this 12 different characters. We've got the 3 booklets, and we've got a whole bunch of room tiles. And I will say those punch boards have pretty good thickness. So that's a peek at Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition, because I honestly felt we needed to take a look at this in order for us to take a look at this. And let's go back the other way. There we go. That should be good. Kevin King says, so apart from build quality issues, this looks good. Well, I will point out, it looked like it was only that one card that had a little bit of chipping. It wasn't terrible. So here we have Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale, Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale. The bells of holiday horror jingle. As the winter solstice heralds the coming of darkness, people throughout the land await the joyous light of the holiday. But it is not only the solstice that is bringing the darkness. One of the world's most beloved figures and his trusty helper have been transformed into evil villains, and they are making a holiday visit to the house on the hill. And it will not be all candy canes and jingle bells. And Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale, an expansion to Betrayal at House on the Hill 3rd edition. Players interact with the explorers of the base game with 2 holiday-themed characters and specially designed haunts, room tiles, and game cards. Get into the spirit of winter and add festive holiday horror to your base game. Sweet. Very cool. I will say, this is pretty light. I know we've got the 2 new miniatures. Looks like we've got some new rooms. We've got new booklets, I should say. These are only a few pages in length. We've got new rings for the miniatures, some new cards. I do like the insert. That's kind of cool. These are the minis. Nicely wrapped, too. Okay. So the new rooms we have are the Root Cellar and the Time Lost Tree. And we have Jingle Claws and the Elf as our characters. I would have thought they were the baddies. They got to be the baddies. We probably have some scenarios where there is no hidden reveal, right? It's, all right, you're going up against these. So here we've got is almost like a comic book. It is a comic book. There we go. So we get to find out what transformed Santa Claus, right? So Secrets of Survival. So these are our scenarios. We have 5. I was going to say that elf probably looks a lot like Krampus. So we've got that, and then we've got the Trader's Tome. Flip through that real quickly. So we've got the 5 scenarios. We've got the little comic book. We have 2 new rooms, 2 new baddies, a couple of new rings. We got the new cards here for the Holiday House. We've got 2 new events, 2 new items. So one of the items is a snow globe. The other is unusual cake. Events are the feast and the gift. And we will zoom all the way back in again so we can take a peek at the miniatures. I think this is going to be the elf. Boo, sticker ripped. Oh, well. Oh, well. Oh, yeah, that looks like Krampus. That certainly looks like Krampus. And I will say, far, far more detail on this sculpt. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a better. Oops. There we go. Kevin King says he's got to run its dad's taxi service. Drive safely. So there's some discussion of Halloween decorations, and Madman's favorite holiday is Halloween. There's discussion of some neighbors dropping some coin. All right, come on, autofocus. It is just the one thing that the Panasonic cameras are just, I guess the latest ones that have now come out have improved tremendously. This one overhead isn't too bad. All right, so here's Jingle Claus. And as you can see, maybe it's not as obvious to you as it is to me, but Santa Claus's head is in his belly. And really nice sculpt here. And I should also mention, this plastic is not as soft as the other miniatures. Very nice. That is very cool. So we've got the new cards. We've got the new rings. New room. Did I put that in the wrong side? No, I don't put it down in here so that it doesn't get damaged. So we've got the two new baddies. We've got the new booklets. And that is what we find with Betrayal, the Yuletide Tale. Evil reigns in the winter's pale. Once again, this carries an MSRP of $21.99. It is out now. And of course, we're also looking at Betrayal at House on the Hill, 3rd edition. That is also available now and carries an MSRP of $55.99. And of course, I will have a review. I'll review them both together, I think, in the very near future. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera. Quantum Phase Dragon is with us. Good to see you hanging with us. There we go. Sweet. Flaming Heron says, getting them both to the table, Jeff? Yeah, because I'll be very honest, Elliot is very familiar with Betrayal at House on the Hill, so it won't take us very long to jump right on into it. So we'll play a couple of the haunts from the Evil Reigns in the Winter's Pale, and probably a couple of haunts from the core game. And I would think that should be pretty good. Like I said, stay tuned. I will certainly have the review sometime this month, because it would be kind of silly for me not to get a review out of this holiday expansion well ahead of the holiday. I mean, that would be kind of asinine if I didn't. So if you were hanging out earlier, you may recall that I talked about a whole slew of stuff arrived. It's pretty amazing how much stuff arrived. So tomorrow, we're going to be taking a first look and paging through Planescape Adventures in the Multiverse for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Wizards of the Coast. Yes, it has arrived. It finally arrived. It is what it is. It's been out for 2 weeks now. Oh, well. But I will provide coverage of it. So we are going to be taking a peek at this on tomorrow's show. I will also point out that when I do a review, I am going to review it as a single product because it is only available as a single product. I have seen some folks out there, they're sharing reviews and they're reviewing each book. And I get it. I understand. It increases the views that your channel is going to get. I understand, especially since some of those channels live and die with D&D, where obviously enough, the Gaming Gang does not. And I understand, you know, trying to pump up your views. I am not going to do that. I will be reviewing Planescape as a single product because that's how it's available as of right now. Also tune in because I will be letting you know how you can get into the running to win this alternate art edition of the slipcase set. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And of course, I will reveal the winner for during the review. So Fleming Heron says, finally being the operative word there. Fleming Heron says, and in the meantime, people are going elsewhere to watch someone reviewing all the books. You know, I don't know. And then on Thursday's show, we're going to take a look at Shadow Network from Talon Strike Studios. So I had shared this previously that I had received this. Next week, it is going to be Savage Worlds Week here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, because on Tuesday's show, we're going to dive on into something the Madman is very familiar with, Savage Worlds Adventure Edition from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. So that will be a week from today. A week from tomorrow, we're going to dive on into Deadlands, the Weird West. So we're going to be taking a look at the box set, as well as the Weird West Companion and the Weird West Pawns. Then a week from Thursday, this box is really heavy. We're going to jump on in and take a look at Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. This is the ultimate core. It is packed. So we're going to look at this as well as the Pathfinder Companion. So next week, outside of Tuesday, because we're just going to be looking at this, I'm probably going to rock through the news and have very short random musings portions of the show. Anyway, that's not all that showed up. So I got all those goodies. Also got both volumes of Deep Magic for 5e D&D from my friends over at Kobold Press. So yes, we are going to be taking a peek at this. Wait, that's not all. Got a package from GMT Games, which includes 18 India. So this is an 18XX railroad game, obviously enough, set in India. Wonder how I came up with that idea, huh? Sovereign of Discord, which is an expansion for Fire on the Lake, which I gotta be honest, I'm really surprised at the amount of expansion content that has come out for that particular coin release, Fire on the Lake, which is Vietnam. So we'll have this on the near horizon. And then one that had really caught my eye is Downfall. I believe this is originally, I shouldn't say originally, I believe this is designed by the late, great Chad Jensen. And it seems like this is kind of a card-driven fall of the Third Reich sort of game. So there is that. And of course, stay tuned because I will have coverage of Over the Hill. Is that what it's? The one about, I forget what the title of it just isn't flowing off my brain. It's all about the German High Command, and each player represents someone from the German High Command during World War II. And it looks, I started reading the rules to it because I'm doing a Kickstarter video for NAC War Games because it's going to be like their big American war game release to try to introduce people to their company. And it's pretty deep and it's really interesting. And thankfully, there are ways for me to actually get it to the table because my nephew is off and I gave him a copy of the rules too. So we're going to get together and play that. So that's coming up as well. I believe that is it. Those are all my goodies. Oh, one last thing I should point out. Stay tuned. I'll be sharing my Vaesen, the Lost Mountain Saga review tomorrow. I would have had it today because it was embargoed until today. So Free League Publishing had a review embargo on it. So I could have gotten the review done and ready to rock and roll and release today. Or I could run Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. And I went with Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. Just how I am. That's how I roll. Flaming Around says, so no 2-hour streams? They may turn out to be 2 hours. These boxes are big, especially this Pathfinder box. I mean, no joke. This box probably weighs 9 or 10 pounds. So there's a lot for us. I mean, there's probably a few books. Yeah, Core Rules, Bestiary, Hollow's Last Hope. We've got decks of cards. So yeah, we got plenty of goodies. So Flaming Red says, what do you say all? I'm like, that's not enough. Oh yeah, it's plenty. We got enough stuff to keep us occupied. I've got plenty of reviews. Well, they're not in the can, but I'm good to go to start shooting. So, alrighty, that is it. Speaking of 2-hour shows, we're hitting the hour 40-minute mark. So this has been a long show too. So that is it for this time out. Yes, hopefully everyone out there has had a very happy and safe Halloween, and your kids and everyone else you know has had a safe and happy Halloween. Anyway, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as the aforementioned upcoming Vaesen, the Lost Mountain Saga review from Free League Publishing. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Don't forget, through the end of Halloween, Vaesen is absolutely free in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG. Don't miss out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching live and took part in chat, bigger thank you and a tip of the cap, because not only do you keep me company and I don't feel like a complete doofus just talking to a camera and there's no response from the outside world, but you also keep each other company when I'm doing a first look at a board game or flipping through an RPG book. And it is much appreciated. Of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very, very much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. All right, as I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at Planescape. And you'll find out how you can win this copy right here in my hands. So enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it happens to be in your neck of the woods. And of course, hopefully I get to see you tomorrow. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.